Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Birmingham City Council's regular scheduled meeting. We will have our invocation by Reverend Frank Matthews, and our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilor Hilliard. If everyone could please stand. And before we get started, I just want to take this moment. Councilor Hoyt, our thoughts and prayers with his family. Just learned that he's had death in his family. So I know that Ms. Langford and Mr. Lozey will make sure that they keep us updated on the arrangements. But he had death in his family, so I just want us to also think about Councilor Hoyt and his family. Good morning.
Good morning, councilors.
Good morning.
If we could just have a silent moment in recognition of our young 8-year-old that was slain in the Jefferson County metropolitan area out of Bessemer, as well as the 8-year-old young lady that was killed there in Atlanta. And we can pray for the mayor of the city, they say Birmingham built, Mayor Keisha Bottoms, as she goes through her trials, and many others that are affected by circumstances. Father God of the Most High, we reverence you this day before this body. And God, we thank you that you allow us to be a part of the 7.8 billion people on this little beautiful shining planet. But God, we cannot get along. More than any other people in the history of the world that's on this planet. 7.8 billion people could be a lot of love. Lord, these 24,904 miles that circumference this earth is turned into, by multimedia, nothing but pits of fire and acrimony. The closer the innovations of Mark Zuckerberg's and others have brought us together in a circle of fire. Made us closer, but the closer social media have made us has distanced us. So he shook us. The world is too heavy, 7.8 billion people trying to fill 24,904 miles. But God, I ask you to select and look and set your eye on this little city, this 141 square miles, this little city with less than 204,000, but yet it shines through the universe, and the world knows it, among 5 other cities of the United States of America. But God, we're hurting. We've gone from magic to tragic to madness. We're mad at the white man is mad at everybody. Black folks is mad at poverty. Poverty does not discriminate against anyone. Hate does not discriminate against anyone. But God, we're running for love. But we thank you. In Hebrews, you say you will shake everything that can be shaken, and that which will remain will remain. Shake this city council, shake this mayor, shake these citizens. Shake us all, God. Shake us together. Take the black pepper and your salt and season the meat of our life and make us desirable, men and women, to really be broadcast to the world. To say that Birmingham is uniquely different from her trials and her tragedies, from her disadvantages to advantages. Give the heart of love and peace for all that live within this 100 square miles, this little small spot in the universe that you call Birmingham. Thank you for your grace. Heal all of us that are sick. Drive back the enemy of COVID and other born disease that we face in the coming months. Make us one in this battle against the enemy of all human beings' soul. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Mr. Clerk.
Morning, sir.
How you doing?
Council Member Pro Tem Alexander.
Good morning here.
Good morning. Council Member Hilliard.
present.
Council Member Hoyt. Council Member O'Quinn. Present. Council Member Smitherman. Councilmember Williams, Councilmember Woods, Councilmember Abbott, President Parker.
Good morning. Good morning. We're going to do one or two things. So, Mr. Matthews, come on back up. I know the last time you were here, you didn't finish part of your presentation, and so I want to give you just a few minutes to finish your presentations. Then from there, we will go to the mayor's report and then go through our agenda. So, good morning.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, and all the great counselors that make up this great council that we call City of Birmingham. And thank you again so much for the resolution. And I apologize that I don't wish I was Mary J, but I wish I could say no more crying, no more tears, no more. So it won't. But I have serious business this morning. I've been inundated by the men and women in blue as it relates to the Birmingham Police Department. And there's some serious issues. Matter of fact, I don't know if you got the email and the text messages that I received from some of the members of the Birmingham Police Department and talking about the meeting that they're going to have at 7 p.m. tonight. And if you would, let me just read that for you if I could. You know how these things, they don't like my signal up here for some reason. But anyway, I get it to you. But there's issues with one Lieutenant Halukas, Richard Halukas. And you might remember that name from 2014 when there was a shooting of Mr. Avery Williams on his knees off of Porto Madrid, where they thought the dash camera was not on. Two officers, Richard Halukas and Mr. Avery, and they shot Mr. Avery on his knees, and the dash cam was on. And Mr. O'Guire, who was the shooter that night, got a medal for a good shoot. A little less than a year later, dash camera video was sitting to AL.com, and the two officers had covered up a shoot, had allowed one member of that team to get a medal. So after it was disclosed, I called a press conference, and Chief Roper said he would suspend the medal and they would move forward. Well, that was a turbulent year. We had Tamiris Rice, we had Michael Brown. I dealt with a lot of situations. Being an activist across this country, I let it go, which they hadn't. And lo and behold, we arrived in the 21st century, in this decade, and the mayor was having a press conference, and my phone started blowing up. Police officers that know me and remember how I came before this council before, when we had a white officer that had pepper sprayed the officer and all that. Y'all remember? And so I called the mayor. I said, "Man, who's counseling you?" I went on about this lieutenant that's now the president of the FOP. Now, what really disturbed me about this council is the fact that this same Lieutenant Halukas, who was complicit in covering up a bad shoot, was on CBS 42 and picked up by national news as his comments as it relates to the shooting of George Floyd. And he tells Sherry, that was the local interviewer, that the mayor of Minneapolis made a knee-jerk decision in calling for the officers that killed George Floyd, called for them to be fired and arrested. Now, this is the same lieutenant that was complicit as an officer to cover up shooting a black man on his knees. He should never use the word knee unless he's bound the knee to God. So we move on to the stories that I'm getting now, and I'm going to be through with me. 1 second, President, I promise I'll be through. So now he's the shift commander, West End. He's the president, again, of the FOP, And there's a lot of stories that the officers want to tell this council about that election and about things that's going on in that precinct because he's the morning shift commander, such as a few weeks ago when Bubba Wallace had the situation. He had nothing but black police officers in the roll call that morning. And he came in talking about Wallace. That Wallace shouldn't have lied. He didn't never see a rope. And this is the kind of things that the officers tell me, hey, what are we talking about here? It's those kinds of things. It's those kinds of things. Now, a lot more I want to say, but I won't bore you this time. I will read, because I was hoping Hunter was here, and Mr. Hoyt, because I wanted to speak to them and ask for their involvement again, because they are calling the headquarters, the White House. They're talking about Mr. No-Field, who's over the K-9 unit. He wants no blacks, no women. They have 14 K-9 individuals. Out of the 14, only one is black. Okay? That's a problem with them. They just had a big narcotic recruiting to get personnel to deal more with narcotics. They had 24 to apply. 15 made it, only one of the 15. So this is what these officers are saying. And the community is saying, now that we found out that Halukas, again, is the one that shot, was complicit to his partner shooting someone on their knees, we don't trust him. And with the testimonials that I'm getting from at least 12 officers, we have more not to trust him. Now, your Mayor Council Act in Section 3.7, it's called the Power Acts of the Council. And you go down to number 4, this is the responsibility of the council. And I wish Hunter was here. Mr. Hunter was here, because he's over Public Safety Committee.
Okay.
I'll read it. Let me read it.
Go, Mr.
And I'm through. Let me read the act.
Okay.
Inquire into, I'm sorry, let me get my glasses. I forgot I got the gray hair and glasses. I was trying to look like Frederick Douglass. I'll read it and I promise you, Mr. President, I'm through. Now your glasses are going to fall over with this mess. Ain't this something? Well, anyway, inquire into the conduct of any office, department, or agency of the city and make investigations as to any municipal affairs. Okay? So that's the charge.
Okay.
And I would invite you to join them that's going to make their plea tonight. Some of these officers that have been behind closed doors, they will be at the Fraternal Order of Police meeting tonight to make some of their grievances known. So I hope that some of you councils will go out there and sit in on that meeting tonight. And thank you, Mr. President, for giving me this time.
Okay. We know Council Hoyt is out, and also Council Williams is en route. I just think so I just want to make that noted, that Council Williams is en route here. He's a few minutes delayed. So with that, Mr. Clerk, you're ready to go to the consent agenda.
Okay, the consent agenda starts on page 2 with item 2. Let me skip over, missed one here, to page 17 with item 3. Page 18, item 4. Page 19, item 5. Page 20, item 6. And page 28, item 7. Page 29, item 8, as well as item number 10. And then on page 30, we have items 11, 12, and 13 on consent. And we conclude with item number 14 on page 31.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions, thoughts on the consent agenda? We're all good. Okay. All right. All items designated as consent or routine and non-controversial will be approved by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will be permitted unless a council member, the mayor, or citizen interested in a public hearing so request. If so, such item or items will revert to its normal place on the agenda order of business. All matters of permanent operation will be read. All other matters will be announced by reading the item number only. All public hearings will be announced. We need a motion.
Second.
Okay. So Councilor Abbott and Council Pro Tem Alexander. Council Member Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye.
Council Member Hilliard.
Aye.
Council Member O'Quinn.
Aye.
Council Member Smitherman.
Aye.
Council Member Woods.
Yes.
Council Member Abbott.
Aye.
President Parker.
Aye. Okay, the consent agenda is approved.
Mr. President, before you go to the next item, we have the board and agencies.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, boards and agency vacancies. Art Museum have several vacancies. So Nan Skyer, Dr. Sanjay Singh, Kelly Staslinger, and Norman B. Davis, George T. French. Those are the regular members. All the terms expire August the 31st, 2020. They're 6-year terms. And then we have the annual members, Carol Clark, John Montgomery, Kimberly Richardson, J. Andrew Robinson, Sonia Smith, Nick Willis. All terms expire August 31st, 2020. They are 1-year terms, and they're all under the Park and Recreation Cultural Arts Committee.
Okay. All right. Thank you. With that first item,
Okay.
Mr. Clerk.
First item should be item 1. An ordinance to further amend the zoning district map of the city of Birmingham, case number ZAC 2019-40, to change zone district boundaries from C2 to QI1 in order to allow gravel parking area for storage of trailers and other equipment filed by Reliable Property Group, LLC, for properties located at 2409 20th Street North, 2008 24th Avenue North, 2015 24th Court North, 2014 24th Avenue North, 2019 24th Court North, and 2014 21st Street North, and situated in the southwest quarter of Section 23, Township 17, Range 3, West Birmingham, in the hearing of all interested parties. Motion, please.
I move approval.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing? But
I'm well.
hold on. Are you all here for this particular? Okay. Okay. If you could, sir, we're asking the city of Birmingham to present the information to us, and then at that point, we would go. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm well,
Good
Councilman.
morning.
Calvin Abram, zoning administrator. This case is as read out is ZAC 2019-40. The case is in North Birmingham. The application is to change the zoning district boundaries from C2, which is general commercial district, to I1 with Q conditions. The applicant is Reliable Property Group for the properties located at 2409 20th Street North, 2008 24th Avenue North, 2015 24th Court North, 2014 24th Avenue North, 2019 24th Court North, and 2414 21st Street North, and situated in the southwest 1/4 of the Section 23, Township 17S, Range 3, West Council District 9. The proposed use is a gravel parking area for storage of trailers and other equipment. Property and abutting land uses. The subject properties are currently undeveloped in Zone C2. Finley Boulevard abuts the property to the north. Beyond Finley is a vacant, undeveloped parcel, and the Sunoco gas station, both zoned C2. To the west of the site is a vacant, undeveloped property and one single-family house owned by Nathaniel Booker, zone C2. South of the site is 24th Avenue North. Below the street is the Powell Transportation Business and the Alabama Brick Business, both of which are zoned I1. To the east of the site, across 21st Street North, is Fleet Pride zoned C2. The applicant proposal is to manages Storage Trailers of Alabama. This business provides storage rental, trailer rental, and used equipment sales. The city's long-range land use plan identifies the property as light industrial, This land category is reserved for light industrial and office uses, small warehouses, and distribution facilities. The proposed rezoning request is consistent with the long-range land use plan. The zoning ordinance identifies the gravel parking lots used for storage are allowed in the zoning ordinance. This case went before the Implementation Committee and Neighborhood Recommendation. The applicant met with the North Birmingham Redevelopment Committee of the North Birmingham Implementation Committee on Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. The committee voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning request subject to the following Q conditions. 1, the applicant should install landscaping shrubs along the front of the fence on the Finley Avenue side of the property. 2, the curb cut driveway on 20th Street North should include at least 20 feet of concrete or asphalt to catch any loose gravel on vehicles exiting the site. And 3, any changes or modifications to the site plan or any future development must be reviewed by the North Birmingham Implementation Committee and the Zoning Advisory Committee. The Zoning Advisory Committee met at its regularly scheduled meeting on February 18th, 2020, and voted to recommend approval of the applicant's request subject to the Q conditions recommended by the North Birmingham Framework Plan Implementation Committee, and the Planning and Zoning Committee met at a special call meeting on June 3rd, 2020, and voted to recommend approval of the request, including the Q conditions. Staff recommends approval, maintaining the Zoning Advisory Committee qualifications as well as the Planning and Zoning Committee. That concludes my report.
Thank you. I guess what we'll do is just, sir, did you want to come up and is there anyone else that's here? I see the owner here, but is anyone else besides you? Good morning, sir, that's here to speak against it, or?
Yes, my name is Ronald Davis, and I'm a member of the 25th Avenue Baptist Church, which abuts, who is across the street from this 103-year-old church. And I'm speaking from a historical perspective.
Okay. It's really, I don't know if people can hear you. If you could just make sure someone can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
I think they can. Yes,
sir. Is that
sir.
better? Okay. I'm speaking from knowledge-based point, this zoning from C2 to a QI1 is inappropriate for this area for a 100-year-old church up on the corner. And across from there is the Salvation Army new facility. And historically, this manufacturing or light manufacturing gives the owner the right to make obnoxious noise in excess of C2. And I am in opposition to that because we've had a history with businesses in this area making a lot of noise on Sunday morning when we're having church. And we think that it is inappropriate for a 100-year-old church to have to compete with a gravel company that can put their business anywhere. Our church has been there since over 103 years. And my personal view of this zoning for QI1, because I live next to one, and I filed a complaint with zoning because they're running trucks 24 hours a day, freezer trucks. And this noise would go across and interfere with our church services, in my estimation, and with the people who live in that house adjacent to this property. Now, if this individual couldn't convince the person to purchase the property, then he needs to make sure that there is an adequate buffer. And my history says that we should have had a buffer in other areas, but the property owner got a Q1, and he ripped up the buffer. It's supposed to have been shrubbery on the, Kenworth was supposed to put shrubbery on the side of abutting the property owners. He ripped up all the shrubbery, put up an electrified fence, and it's really ugly. If you go out there and look at it, you will see it. And we're asking these people to do the same type of zoning in this area, which is a travesty because this community historically is the reason why we're all down here today. The North Birmingham community is the community in which Reverend Shuttleworth found himself living. and we are being inundated by Jordan and Pacifico and these toxic dumps. And we keep being asked, in our community, we keep being asked to take on the load of all the trash that this city can produce. And it is ridiculous that you keep putting all these things in this community that it cannot sustain. Jordan is on the other side of 16th Street, and the Pacifico Finley people are fighting against it. And I'm saying to you today that changing this from a C2, if you made it a C2 zoning, why let somebody come in and dictate to the community what they need? Tell them where they need to put their business. One additional thing I want to say before I sit down is that we, the citizens of this city, owe our respect to these older black communities that are being inundated. And I'm going to ask you right now on this city council, why is it that the northern part of this city, which was the cradle of our civil rights, looks so bad? The only areas of this city that get capital improvement and money to build nice facilities is southern part of this city. It is ridiculous that we get required to be living in a toxic situation, and even the people in Finley community are inundated by Jordan, and they've been complaining to you as well. We need a timeout on all this development in the north. Let it go someplace else. Please do not give these people this zoning from a C2 general business to a Q I1 light manufacturing, because it's going to create havoc on the people who already live there. And these zoning we did not get a notification about this zoning change until it came before this city council. Our church did not receive a notification.
Okay.
And that is not fair either. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Was there anyone else, sir, that was? Okay, is anyone else here to speak for the matter? Okay. Well, I was going to recognize you. Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm George Mahoney, and I'm the owner of Reliable Property Group, and I'm the one requesting the rezoning and listen to the gentleman's concerns. And first thing is that we're closed on the weekend. That's not to say there won't be extenuating circumstances from time to time, but even if we are there, we're not making a lot of noise. The other thing is 2.5 years ago, this was zoned, it was originally zoned I-1, then went to C2, and now we're going back to an I-1 with conditions, which is more restrictive than the other I-1s in the neighborhood. And we're on the other side of the 4-lane avenue, Finley Avenue, so there is quite a bit of buffer between the two.
Okay. All right.
And we plan to be a good neighbor.
All right. Were there any other, questions from council members? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to get some clarity on specifically what your intended use for the property is. What are you storing, and if you could talk about what you plan to do with that property?
I plan to park as an overflow yard. I have an existing business on 24th Avenue and 23rd Street. And I've run out of room because my business is growing. And I'm going to use it as an overflow parking lot. I sell semi-trailers, not the trucks, but the trailers.
Right.
And I also rent semi-trailers. And I also have a storage business, and I rent out shipping containers for storage, like construction sites behind drugstores or whatnot. So that's all that's going to be parked there. And there may be some truck parking.
Okay. Is there activity on Sundays?
Excuse me?
Do you have any activity on Sundays?
Like I said, 95% of the time, no. The only time there would be activity on Sunday is like when we get a Walmart busy season, and we just got to work the whole weekend just to get everything delivered to Walmart. Stuff like that, but very rarely.
Okay, thank you. And then I got one for the city, if zoning. Thank you, sir. is the framework plan for this area completed? For this area is?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
And I will speak, I know that I'm sure you've been meeting with Representative Moore and Ms. Brown and all of them as part of the group you've been meeting with, or? Yeah, okay, so, yeah, so I would, Ms. Brown and the others, or?
Well, I was asking kind of about that plan, but then this report references the city's long-range land use plan. How are those two things different? If this was a part of the intention of the city's long-use plan, why wasn't the zoning adjusted at that time, or you got any insight on that piece?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Gambrell, come up. Good morning, sir. Good morning, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good.
Let me see. Oh, so this is the site.
Mr. Gambrell, do you need Mr. Council Woods to repeat the question, or you're?
No, just generally, I mean, my memory is fading over the years, I guess. But because specifically, I'm kind of assuming that we left it that way because of the nearness to the intersection with the interstate. Thinking it would be a good location for, general commercial there. But, the overall plan, we see this, Findlay transitioning over time. You see that now with Kenilworth, with, Fleet Pride, which I think is actually zoned I-1, if I'm not mistaken. But, I'm sort of guessing. To be honest with you, I don't really recall this specific parcel, why we left the C2. But the plan did call for it to convert over time. And I think we generally see that trend happening. So we kind of feel like, it's an appropriate rezoning with the stuff that's around it. Like was mentioned, the church, is across 100-foot right-of-way, and then another 100 feet from there. So, we feel good about it.
Council Woods, is that
Thank you.
addresses? Okay. All right. Anybody else have questions? Councilor Abbott, you're good? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Clark, ready to vote?
Council Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye.
Councilmember Hilliard. Aye. Councilmember O'Quinn.
Aye.
Councilmember Smitherman.
Aye.
Councilmember Woods.
Yes.
Councilmember Abbott. President Parker.
Yes. Okay. That item passes. Next item.
You want to deal with that issue?
I'm sorry. Yeah, we need to reconsider the consent agenda on item 7, number 48, which is for 2404 20th Avenue North. Did get an indication the mayor's office asked that we remove that, withdraw item 48 of item number 7.
Motion to reconsider the consent agenda. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so you want to readopt it absent?
Yeah, readopted. Absent on item 7, number 48, which is location 2405 20th Avenue North. That's zip code 35234. Okay. All right. Ready to move the consent agenda? Need a motion?
Okay. And this is absent withdrawal from item number 7. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Okay. Mr. Clark, are we?
All right. Item 9 has been requested to be withdrawn by the mayor's office. And after that, I guess we're down to old and new business or public.
Okay. All righty. Councilor Smitherman, you want to get started?
I just have one announcement. This Friday from noon to 1, my office and I and the NAACP will be at Eagleton Village. We'll be passing out face masks and box lunches, and we'll be helping people register to vote as well. Thank you.
Okay. Council Woods, good morning.
Good morning. Just one thing real quick. Wanted to shout out Administrator Kidd and her team. They worked through a lot of technical issues to get our live stream back functioning right. So just wanted to shout them out for that. And very excited about that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, all right. Councilor Abbott.
I'm good. Our next budget and finance meeting is on the 13th of July, so everybody needs to get their items in by tomorrow evening.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Quinn, you're good.
Thank you, President Parker. There will be a Transportation Committee meeting tomorrow. Of course, Councilor Hoyt won't be able to join us, but he has asked me to chair that meeting tomorrow. One item of note, although it isn't officially on the agenda, I believe we have requested an update on the Birmingham On Demand project, which is continued to be ongoing. However, we're at towards the end of that 6-month pilot project, and as we look forward towards the next fiscal year budget, we'll be having to make many difficult decisions, but this is certainly one that we will want to sort of weigh in the balance. So I encourage you all, if you're available, to either attend or tune into that meeting so that you can get the latest details. Otherwise, I want to encourage people to vote next Tuesday. We have a runoff election next Tuesday, July 14th. Under the present circumstances, I'm not fully aware of how our polling stations are going to handle voting, but always please keep in mind that you can vote absentee if the circumstances require that. Again, the circumstances are especially difficult this time around, but always encourage people to exercise their right to vote. We as elected officials pay very close attention to who's voting. It's important to us, and so even though none of us are involved in this election, it's always important for folks to exercise their right to vote. So please make plans to either vote absentee or take a few minutes out of your day next Tuesday to go by the polling station and cast your ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Hilliard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm excited to announce today, for the last 2.5 years, my office has been working with the National Wildlife Federation to secure a grant to study the environment and others, and today we have been awarded a $50,000 grant, and I'm excited about that, and to say to my office they've really worked hard on this. This grant will be distributed by the National Wildlife Federation to the Build Up program, which formerly you know as Build Up Inslee. Also, the East Thomas Neighborhood Association will receive the Slade Land and Use Environment Service, the Urban Planning and Geological Service, the Village Creek Human and Environmental Justice Society will be beneficiaries of these grants. We're really excited about that. If you want to know more information about it, you can call 205-254-2302. Again, 205-254-2302, and we're excited to be partnering with the National Wildlife Federation on that. Also, tonight at 7:30, our weekly phone and virtual town hall meetings. We're excited to have our own distinguished attorney Nicole King will be our speaker tonight. So we're excited about that, and we know that she's a super mom and will be taking off a little time from putting her kids to bed just to talk with the citizens of District 9. So we're so excited, and thank you, Attorney King, for your distinguished service to the citizens of Birmingham and District 9. Thank you so much. Mr. President, that's all I have. Thank you. It's District
All right,
9 time.
thank you. All right, congratulations. We'll look also be looking forward to our 7:30 call with the City Attorney King. So anyway, President Pro Tem.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just have one announcement. On Wednesday, July 8th, from 1 to 3 p.m., there will be COVID testing held at Bryant Chapel AME Church. And we want to thank Reverend Littlejohn, the Jefferson County Health Department, and the UAB Minority Health and Health Disparities Group will be conducting those COVID-19 drive-through testing. District 7 will also be providing free masks as a giveaway for anyone who comes out. And even if you don't come out to get tested, come by and get a free mask. And again, that's Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m. And for an appointment, you need to call 205-975-2819. That's 205-975-2819. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn? Okay.
Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Be safe. Thank you.